All right, well, Kufar, Akbar, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Cross and the Crescent Discussion Group. This is a show that is dedicated to rightly dividing the truth between Christianity and Islam. We broadcast here from Dawah, Kafiristan, in the depths of the Kafir Cave, every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're normally here for about 2 hours or so. And never really much longer than that. If we do go longer than that, it's probably because I don't have church following. But tonight we do have church at 6, so we got to be out of here by 6 Central Time. Today, we are going to again be talking about the swine of Dawah Kind. Last week we had episode 1. I don't know how many episodes we're going to do of this, and this is kind of like the gift that, I don't want to call it the gift that keeps on giving, but you know how David Wood and Robert Spencer, they do their weekly Jihad Watch or Jihad Report, or is it Jihad? What is it called? What do they call that? Jihad Watch or Jihad Report or whatever. They do a weekly show.
Both, yeah.
It's called
Jihad.
What?
Jihad Watch.
Jihad Watch and Jihad Report, yeah.
Okay, all right. So they do that every week, and they report on jihad incidents around the globe where you have acts of jihad. And it's not hard to find them. All you have to do is go over to thereligionofpeace.com. Is that what it is? Thereligionofpeace.com, or is it I got it right here in my bookmarks. It is thereligionofpeace.com. If you go to thereligionofpeace.com, they provide you a laundry list of all the jihad attacks going on across the globe on a daily basis. And as of today, because they keep a running tally of the number of jihad attacks that have occurred since September 11th, 2001, and there have been 44,696. 44,000. Think about that. The number of attacks conducted in the name of a particular religion, 44,000. That's grotesque, is what it is. But anyway, they do that type of stuff. And what I want to do here is we kind of do these shows every now and then. I don't want to make this the sole format of the show, but on this show, we're going to illustrate some of the things that are said by these Dawagandists. Rad sent me a clip this week of the Mimi hijab. And I mean, that was just, I don't even want to play that. I mean, that was just grotesque, the way that these guys, they just sit around and cling on one another. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a touchy-feely person, but if you're a man, don't touch me. like that. I'm sorry. I can't do that. What?
Wait. What do you mean you're not going to play it? Then what's the point of having the Swine of the Dawah kind if you're not going to play the Swine of the Dawah kind? I'm just saying.
Well, no, we have plenty of
defeats the
other.
purpose.
No, Gunfighter. We have plenty other Swine of the Dawah kind. As a matter of fact, let me lead off with one here really quick. Let's see here. Where did he go? Where did you go? Where did you go? I found you. You're right where I left you. Okay, here's a guy going into a Catholic church. It's in France. Going into Catholic church in France. And, I know that's nothing big. It's not that big of a deal going into a Catholic church in France, but it is when you do this. Let's play this. Can you hear it?
Excusez-moi, mon père. Je ne fais pas de mosquée. Est-ce que ça vous dérangerait si je prie juste là? Le ça.
It's barely audible.
Allahu Akbar.
This is a Catholic church.
Merci, mon père. Merci. Excusez-moi, mon...
Okay. My question is, hold on, it's still playing over here on this. Let me turn this off here. Sorry. My question is if this guy walked into your church and did this, would he walk out?
Well, he would be escorted out. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, a little more than.
I'm sorry, I missed. What did he do? I saw him walking back.
He went in there. He walked to the front. He walked to the front of the church. He walked to the front of the church and started praying Islamic prayers.
Put his rug on the ground, bent down, and then bowed down like a Muslim. Said Allahu Akbar.
I mean, my question would be, what would someone feel if it was vice versa? If someone came into a church, a Muslim, if a Christian went into the masjid and, praised Jesus in the front of the masjid.
Would anybody in here do that to a mosque?
Absolutely not.
No, I would have more respect for them. That's their place, not mine.
Good word.
Okay. So the bottom line is,
I might be tempted to walk in front of them, being a woman, because that invalidates all of what they did.
Well, if they're let's say they're outside, like they have in maybe these big groups that they get in, and they take over like city streets to show that their dominance in numbers in that city. Yeah, I would get up and I would stand up in front of them, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to intimidate me by praying in public. If you want to pray, go into your mosque and pray. If you don't have enough room in your mosque, build another, or go get another one. Go buy another storefront or rent out a store. I don't care what you do. But you do not.
I would find myself a little pig, put it on a leash and walk it in front of them, make them run.
Well, last night, our pastor was coming back from Arkansas. He's got 3 kids. He had a death in the family. He had to go back to Arkansas. And that's about 4 hours from here. And he was trying to come across the bridge in Memphis. And you never guess who was out there protesting. So instead of getting back at around 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, him and those kids, babies, 3-year-old, 2-year-old, 1-year-old, didn't get home until after 1 o'clock, because they had to reroute everybody coming across the bridge. So when these people want to sit there and try to assert their dominance over the rest of society needs to stand up and say, no, we're not going to sit here and allow you to do this.
Yeah.
We're not going to allow you to come into our churches and pray. If and being escorted out, as Darcy said, or Connie said, no, you're going to be dragged out. You don't do that is, again, here you have the swine of the Dawah kind going into a Christian building and trying to assert their dominance. And if any of you guys get over to Bob the Builder's channel, here he's a strong advocate of a strong sense of Christianity, strong sense of unity. He doesn't promote violence or anything of the like, but you would enjoy a lot of his videos that he does. I have another one here of a gentleman, if you want to call him that, blessing. Well, you have a Catholic priest going into a market, blessing the market, providing a blessing for the market. And well, let me just play this, and then you can decide. Let's see here. That's the one. And here we go.
Depuis quelques semaines, les commerçants musulmans ont envahi l'église Saint-Michel pour vendre leurs camelotes. Donc, le curé a décidé, à la fin de chaque messe, de bénir les marchands du temple et le parvis envahi. Voilà, c'est une façon de derniers chrétiens de résister à l'invasion au grand remplacement. Voilà.
Okay, so you have a man spitting in the face of a Catholic priest, and all the Catholic priest is doing is he's just blessing the market that these people are selling their wares in. And this, for us here in the United States, this may seem kind of foreign, because it is foreign, I guess you could say. But it looks to me that this is in Italy, by the sounds of things. And a lot of times they will just spread out whatever they have to sell right there on the street sidewalks, and people will come by and they'll buy whatever. There's like bags or whatever. And to me, a lot of this, when especially when I lived there, was offensive, because you would go to churches, you would have these people, they would spread their wares out right there on the church steps and sell it right there in front of the church. And, people trying to walk into the church to pray or whatever, they would be, impeded by these people because they got their crap laying all over the place. So with that, I can see where that'd be offensive. But all this guy was doing is just walking through the market and just blessing the market. Now, if you look, let me see if I can get this back up here. If you look in his right hand here, he was anointing the market with holy water. That's what is in that item, that tool, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you would call it, but he's spraying holy water on the area around him. Now, he may have hit this man with holy water, which triggered the man to react because he's a demon, has a demon in him. And, that might have had, it's France. Okay. Well, same thing. I don't want to say the same thing, but no, it's not the same thing as Italy, but same type of culture. It's set up. Anyway, that might have been, excuse me, that might have been, wow, sorry, what triggered the man to spit in the priest's face. However, spitting in the face of another human being, not cool under any types of circumstances, unless you want to get a bullet in your head. That's about the only time that I could think that you would do that. Anybody have anything else they want to comment on that one? That video?
No, if there were wares, put all over, I'd be stomping, stomping on their stuff, walking by.
I
Okay.
have a different kind of thought. I was they're actually lucky they didn't get blown up. I'm going to tell you the truth. That's what went through my head, because some churches, and Nigeria is one of the worst places that I've just read about recently, and churches are being blown up and people are being killed.
Yes, I have an article on that. Let's see here. UNRWA. I have all kinds of stuff on UNRWA, and I don't want to beat a dead horse with that. But I had an article on Nigeria and how Nigeria is persecuting their Christians. I mean, every time you turn around, they're burning a church to the ground, or they're going in and they're. As a matter of fact, I tell you what. I am going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to. And let me make sure that you all can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to bring up The Religion of Peace.
Wait, Eric, before you do, we got to give a disclaimer here, just really quickly here. First of all, yes, spitting in a man's face is definitely swine of the Dawah kind. Yes. But yes, the Crescent is not advocating shooting or blowing up anyone at any time in any place. Just to let you know, YouTube, please. So we are not advocating that. So the feds and the NSA that are listening, we are not advocating that. We are a peaceful group that likes to blow people up and shoot people. But other than that, we're good.
We're not blowing anybody up. Not this week anyway. Okay. What? Who is talking?
That was just me. I was just like...
Oh, hey, Ed. Welcome.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Thank you. Pretty good. How you doing?
All right.
Didn't Jesus flip a bunch of tables when they were selling stuff on...
It's not weird how you said that, but it's weird how you said that, because when the first place that I saw this was downtown Naples. It was like it was the second week we were there, and we were walking down the street, and people have their stuff laid out, and we were going to go to one of these really old churches, and these men had their stuff set up on the steps of the church, and you couldn't hardly get through. And then when you walk by them, they started barking at you for getting close to their stuff. And I got thinking, first thing I started thinking, I said, how dare you set your wares up on the steps of God's house? And I pictured Jesus kicking those knockoff Versace bags or whatever type of bags they would sell, the counterfeit stuff that they were selling, into the street. But yeah, that you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Now, let's go back to my experiment here. Let's see if the Kaffir...
By the way, Constantine was a Palestinian.
What the heck is that about? Okay. Let me see here. Where am I? Okay, here we go. All right. The Religion of Peace. Let's make this big, and let's see if any of these attacks that they list for today are out of Nigeria. Atrocity of the Week church shooting in Istanbul. I have that on clip. Democratic Republic of the Congo. 2 women. Oh, second one. Look at there. Nigeria. A dozen loggers lose their life to Boko Haram. Niger. Oh, here's another one from Nigeria. 7 farmers, including a pregnant woman, are purged by Boko Haram bombers. So, yeah, Nigeria is getting whacked, folks. Our Christian...
Read the one before that.
Which one?
5 beheaded.
5 people at a church. Oh, let me go back to that.
Yeah.
That was in the Democratic Republic of Congo. 5 people at a church are among 8 beheaded by ADF Islamists. 22 villages are massacred in Nigeria. This, when we start talking about the number of terrorist attacks, that's not the number of people killed. That's the number of attacks.
Has anybody mentioned the part about where we went in and bombed Syria and Iraq like yesterday?
Yeah, no, we haven't done that. I mean, that definitely devastated the camel herd on that border town that hit, but we didn't
Well,
kill
no,
soul.
they did hit some kind of munition storage. If you look at it, I mean, they got unexploded ordnance.
Oh,
but,
man.
But for the most part, we didn't really hit or kill anyone. It was pretty
No,
much
we
just...
took out 85 Abduls, dude. What are you talking about?
Really? I heard 4. I mean,
No,
so
it was
we'll
85.
85 different locations is what I heard.
No,
that's what I heard too.
No. Hold on. I'll go back and look.
Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
The killing them, yes, because
Yeah,
no, and I'm going to tell you why. No, I'm going to tell you. No, Issa, I'm going to tell you why. If you bomb a building, let's say you bomb a building and it stores weapons and munitions and equipment, you blow that building up. That building can eventually be repaired. The equipment can be replaced. But as Eric will testify, to train a soldier to operate that equipment, that takes, first of all, you got to raise them up to the right age where they can hold the rifle. Secondly, you got to put an investment into training them, so on and so forth. So the more you take out, the less they have to operate with. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a thing from Nazi Germany. You know, Nazi Germany had plenty of planes. They still had plenty of tanks. Well, they didn't have the fuel for the tanks or the fuel for the planes, but they still had plenty of equipment. What they didn't have was pilots. That was the problem. Same thing with the Japanese. They had plenty of planes, but they didn't have pilots anymore because it takes a long time to train them. And so, yes, that's why.
But this is life, though. These are people. These are human beings.
When it comes to them starting a war, well, then you do warly, you retaliate and you try to take it out. Issa, well, what are we going to do? Just fold our hands and say, oh well.
Yeah, let's just sit back.
No, you don't do that. I mean, because if not, you won't have the freedom to even speak anymore. You see, so they started a war. And everybody else is retaliating against that war that they started. So you got to get that straight. Huh? I got to get that straight too. And I'm a female. Thank you. And thank you, Eric.
Yeah, understand when you take out 3 of ours, we're going to take out 85 of yours. Okay.
Exactly.
But we're all human beings. These are human beings too. Like that. This is what I'm not like. What do you mean? They're not different than us. This is just human beings. Maybe.
Okay. So killing 3 is okay on their end.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying. All right. Then we're gonna go. Then we're gonna go in and stop it.
Let me ask a question. Let me ask. Okay, this is I think Issa has a fair question. But
it's always a fair question, but the answer is big time.
The answer is, if you don't stop it, does the behavior continue?
Yeah, they continue, right?
Well, I mean,
911.
This is what a tepid response does. You've had dozens of attacks in the last, I don't know how many months, at our soldiers. They're in their camps and nothing has been done. And now when they finally do, kill a couple of them, being killed is, of course, the worst thing you're going to do to another human being. But when you start looking at all the injuries that they've caused, a lot of these soldiers, these TBIs, and a lot of them have lost limbs and are permanently injured, and not to mention the psychological problems that that type of stuff does to you, and we don't do anything. Something has to be done. Or here's what we could do: we could just leave. We could just leave and say, okay, you guys, if this is the way you want to live, then have at it. You've been killing each other for 1,400 flipping years. Who are we to try to stop you from killing each other? Go ahead and keep on doing it.
Which is my program.
No, we're not going with your program. or we can try to strengthen some of the governments there that at least paid lip service to having some type of democratic leadership that has the best interest and the security of their citizens at heart. But the problem is that we're never going to leave that region. There's too much invested not only economically through, not just in the United States, but this is a worldwide interest are located in that region, mainly energy. And the fact is that something has to be done. The Houthis, every time they stick their head out of the ground from here on out, they need to be, just like whack-a-mole, they need to be smacked back down into the ground. And the same thing occurs with those Iranian-backed. Well, I tell you what would fix the problem. What would fix the problem if we sent a bunch of B-1 or B-2 bombers downtown Tehran. That would fix the problem. I promise you that would fix the problem.
Yep. And what's really interesting, I mean, does anybody, even remember the 1970s? Anybody? Ayatollah Khomeini, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and as soon as Jimmy Carter got out of office and Ronald Reagan took over, what happened?
He let the hostages go. The day that's Ed, the day that he was inaugurated.
Yes.
The day that they released him.
Yeah, they knew what was coming.
They even held it up. They even held it up until he took the oath of office to deliver and run it.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter couldn't attend the inauguration. I got to go welcome the free hostages because you're president now.
Anyway, but no, to respond really quickly to Issa, I know this is a terrible thing, and this is a horrible, terrible thing, and I've never done the deed, and I'm not a war fighter or anything like that, so it's very easy for me to say this, that, and the other thing. However, with that said, okay, I defer to Negan from badass Negan, not wimpy, cowardly Negan, but the real Negan from The Walking Dead, when he says, it's not that you kill people. It's that you got to kill the right person at the right time and in the right way. So yes, just saying, well, we killed 85 of theirs. No, we have to kill the right 85. Okay? All right? In other words, those guys that were there, we just didn't go round up a bunch of civilians in Iraq and Syria and shoot them. Okay? In other words, those dudes that were there on that base, on those bases, they were there. They were volunteers. They knew what they were doing. They were there for a reason. So yes, if they get killed, and again, I stand by this, okay? You got to take out the human influence, the human operator of the equipment, because the equipment can easily be replaced. It takes time to train people and to raise them up and to get them to work with that equipment, okay? And that's just my stance on this. And one more thing on the Houthis. Yeah, I am for pulling out of the entire region, except for just patrolling that Red Sea and the shipping lanes and destroying any of those Houthis that come out and threaten. Because look, Eric just bought a brand new computer, right? That could be delayed coming from China by a week. I mean, we cannot have that, people. We want our stuff now when we want it. We cannot be having it held up because they have to go an extra 900 miles around, the Horn of Africa or whatever.
Can't have the Amazon trucks going that far. No, and plus think about the global warming that would be causing if you had to go.
Exactly. Exactly. All that extra fuel they're burning for mythical. Anyway, but no, I feel your pain, Issa. I do, but no. Anyway, let's continue on with this one. Well, actually, Eric, I want to ask you on the Nigeria front. Do we have special forces and outposts in Nigeria or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm sure we have. Okay.
Well, you can't talk about it, but
no, it isn't. It isn't. Well, it isn't that. It's not that none that I'm aware of. However, I do know personally we have people in Iraq and Syria,
right,
and in Yemen, and when they are shot at, that gets my antenna up and gets my crawl up a little bit because I know these people.
Now, do we also well, I don't know. I've heard that we have actually forward operating bases all over the place, like in China, even in Indonesia and stuff like that. They just observe. All over the world. Yeah, no, seriously, I have heard that. We just
it's all over the world, and there's a reason why you don't hear from them because they lay low, and we're not going to put our troops in harm's way. In the same respect, in the same respect, these guys pulling this crap right here, it's just a matter of time before we're going to nail them. It's enough. We've had enough.
No.
All these guys, especially from Islam, trying to do what they're doing, and they're trying to force us into their ideology. Sorry, bruh, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Jesus Christ said he's gonna take you out, and he's going to. You watch.
All right, let's go. Issa, did you want to respond to any of that? They kind of jumped on you. Not that you didn't deserve it, but go ahead. I'll give you 6 seconds. Issa, you're muted if you're trying to talk. Still muted.
No, he's unmuted. He's unmuted.
Yeah, he's unmuted. We can't hear you, sir. Issa, can you hear us? Issa?
There he is. He can. I see
we
his
see
thumb.
Do you have a comment, hon?
He's
got
good.
Mike Brown through.
If he does, okay, fix it and come back up. Let me know. Okay.
Well, it sounds like we convinced him, because if you don't retaliate against people that are warring against you, then what do we have? We have their war coming to us, and we just fold our hands and do nothing.
Silence is consent.
Right, yeah, and that doesn't work at all.
Okay, this week I watched a video, Tommy Robinson stuff. It's called The Rape of Britain. And he interviews a lady who was groomed beginning at the age of 12, I think she said, forced into prostitution. And I was listening to this part right here, I believe it is. I'm going to play this. And it just, I'll let you listen to it.
The mosque. I got raped in number 16 by Watch.
By Watch.
16 by
Well, let me go back. There we go. All right.
Yes, girlfriend. You mean children?
Yeah, my friends. Yeah, they're all kids as well. So number 18. That's the mosque. I got raped in number 16.
That's the mosque.
Yeah, number 18's a mosque. I got raped in number 16 by Watch.
By Watch.
Yeah, that's the first time that I had my virginity taken.
You had your virginity taken in that house.
Yeah.
Okay, so this lady, she's a woman now. This lady was groomed as a young girl by these guys, and she's raped, has her virginity taken during the rape in an apartment right next to the house, to the mosque where these guys worship. And when we start talking about, we can get a lot of people, that would, criticize this show. Oh, they're a bunch of Islamophobes, always talking bad about Muhammad, always saying that Muhammad, did this or did that or whatever. And this is true. We do, because we want to make sure that Muslims know that we know exactly what they know about their prophet. But yet at the same time, at least we have the courage, the moral, not just the courage, but the moral courage to stand up and say, that guy's a scumbag for doing that. Well, the problem is that scumbag behavior by that guy that they call a prophet permeates into his adherents. These adherents believe what the Quran teaches as far as the treatment of non-Muslims. Because if you look at Quran, throughout the Quran, it talks about all kinds of violence and such. But how can you justify? And look at Isa. He's very concerned. Innocent people getting killed, and I get that. This is one thing. Let me come back to that. What I was just saying, but this is what really gets my goat is that Biden's a warmonger, or anybody that doesn't push for a ceasefire in Gaza, wants to see the killing of innocent women and children, babies, whatever. Nothing could be further from the truth. But the problem is that we live in the real world here. We live in a world in which Islam seeks to dominate. And one of the ways that they seek to dominate is by asserting themselves, like praying in a church, praying by the hundreds out in the streets, taking over cities, spitting in the faces of Catholic preachers. I'm gonna play a couple clips here of what they teach their children also, oh, by the way. Or they take the Kaffir women, Kaffir girls, and turn them into prostitutes, turn them into drug addicts, push that garbage and filth that's in their mind onto them. So when we start talking about what do you do about people like that, well, you do shows like this exposing them and calling them out exactly what they are. They're a bunch of pigs. And that ideology permeates through the pages of the Quran, through the Sirah, and through the Sunnah of said prophet. But this really, when we start looking at England, as far as these grooming gangs are concerned, it's absolutely sick. Look at this article here that I found.
Do you mind if I can make a quick response? I'm sorry, my phone wasn't working.
Why wasn't your phone working? Didn't you pay your bill this month or what?
What happened was when you get called, it disrupts the StreamYard. So that's what happened. Someone called me during the StreamYard. So
block them.
You got an iPhone?
I have iPhone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Get an Android. Get a real phone. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're silly. I'm a Mac guy. Steve Jobs all the way. No, I'm joking. But I think so. I want to say, and I understand the concerns that are going on. Like it's a terrible situation. Like when people bring up what happened with Israel, when we think about the Iraq War, when we think about what happened in Pearl Harbor, when we think about these incidents, I just think if we take time, I know people say, well, that's the weak movement, but I think human life and life in general is so valuable and is so important, and we need to do what we can to preserve it. And I understand certain people make really bad choices. These people who are mounting these guns or whatever are human beings. Maybe they were indoctrinated. I even think this way. I have empathy towards the German people. And people say, how can you? Like when people bring up Dresden, I'm like, they were people under an evil tyrant. And I don't think these German people were at fault. And these people killed my own family. I'm, Jewish, so they killed my own family. And but I don't hate them because I don't think that they are really responsible. I don't feel that the German people were responsible. I feel they were under a horrible duress from World War I. They suffered greatly. And I just, even one German life is too much for me. And I even if they said they wanted to end my entire lineage and end my entire, I'm like, they still deserve compassion and mercy. And that's what I feel for all of these people. And some of these people are deeply misguided. They're deeply misguided, and they're involved in doing bad things, but they're still human. And I don't think we should take their humanity away from them. So that's what.
Okay, so what do we do? They've got the guns, right? So what do we do?
Oh, well, we just say
For them. Well, wait a minute, Ed. Yeah, Isa. What do we do? They've got the guns, right? They want to kill people, right? They want to put their flag on Islam worldwide. So you're before them. What are you going to do?
So what I'm going to do, and this is, I hope that I can operate this way, and I operate in the best, most peaceful way that I can, because I'm human and I'm flawed myself. But I would try to say, this, what they're doing is wrong, and I would try to tell them that this is not right, and hurting people is wrong. And you can laugh at me and mock me and say,
I'm going to laugh at you because that's not going to take.
I know, but just let him say it. Go ahead, Isa, please, sir.
I mean, you can mock me and say that I'm wrong and say that this is terrible, but I'm like, at least we should try. We should try to make peace. We should try to do education. We should try any method before violence. And I understand it's scary. You're dealing with very scary people who probably had many years of indoctrination, but they're human, and there's a chance. There's a chance to break through that. There was that guy who was the son of Hamas, right? He became a Christian. And look at him now. Is he doing violence? Is he killing people? No. So how many people could be like son of Hamas? You know,
Okay,
those
what you
people like
do,
that.
what you do
What
is
have
you do
you done?
what you do is you do what Jesus commanded you to do, right? He says to ask, if you ask in his name, then he will do it, right? All right. And if you ask in his
I
name,
will
and he will
choose the
do
cow.
it.
I will choose the cow.
No, it's a pig. It's got to be the pig.
If it doesn't happen, guess what? These people, I mean, you know, let's look at their manual. All right. They're going by the Quran, right? And if they're going by the Quran and they're insisting on going by the Quran, then they know what they're doing is they're going to end up dead for what they're doing, right? And eventually, no, you know, I don't want them to die any more than you want them to die, right? But if they are going to keep doing what they're doing and they're not going to do what Jesus Christ told them to do, it's done. It's over with them. End of story. Period. That's who we go by. That is the standard we live by, is by what Jesus Christ said. And when we said, when he said, those who live by the sword die by the sword, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Those who live by the sword, they die by the sword.
That's true, but don't you think that would be all then? Everybody who's living by the sword.
Yeah, it would. It would. All right. So if you die by the sword, how does that happen? Tell me how that happens, Isa.
Well, someone usually
someone's got to take the sword to you. Exactly. Thank you.
And I just think that if we work, I know it sounds like a pie in the sky and a pipe dream and super liberal leftist. I get it. I understand that my position is going to be a little different than people here who takes this. But I think in the essence, everyone does agree with the principle of what I'm saying. But I understand the reality.
This is what. But here's the issue that I have with it, is that we have tried that. We have tried to establish peace with these people. It's been tried. It was tried before Israel even became a country. But yet in 1929,
Over. You ever heard of the Barbary Wars?
They attacked Jewish settlers in Hebron, and this is before there was even this Jewish or this Israeli state. It's been happening. It happened in 1947. It happened in 1948. It happened in 1959. It happened in 1967. It happened in 1973. It happened and finally they have some type of peace settlement in 1978 with Anwar Sadat. And what do? Well, they kill him. And then it happened again in 1995 and with the Oslo Accord. Then it happened again in 2005. They gave the entire thing back to him, said, take it, fine. We don't have anything to do with you. And as soon as they do that, they elect a terrorist organization to do what? A terrorist organization that starts shooting rockets at them. So Israel's been living under this threat from these people for the past 70 years, over 70 years. And they have tried and tried and tried to establish some form of peace with them. But when their peace, they're ideologically, religiously motivated to kill people and dominate and subjugate people, you cannot make a peace with those people. Look at here. Look at here. Watch this. I'm going to play this. And I'm going to play, this is 4 minutes long. Watch what is being done to these children. And tell me, where do you begin? Where do you begin when you teach your children these things?
يا بني لم نخلق للسعادة فأنت في نظري مشروع للشهادة وسلاحنا إسلامنا وذخيرتنا أبناؤنا فأنت يا بني مشروع باسم الحرية ضحي بيد القميص الزيتي وما شطر الشهادة لعيونك احنا نموت للثروة دمنا قوت دم الشهداء يجري في شراييني حملت اليوم أكفاني يا الضرب ضرب الشهداء ألا وعلا الشهيد هو ذلك الشهداء ألا وعلا الشهيد هو ذلك الشخص الذي
Stop, Eric. Stop it. Pause it. Okay. No, pull it back up to the screen. Pull it back up. Look at the dates. I'm looking at the dates here. Some of them are from 2020, 2019. This is from 2017. And look at the ages here, okay? This is what I'm talking about. You cannot just kill the equipment. You cannot just destroy the tank, the rocket launcher, the building, okay? These children, look at their ages. They are being indoctrinated. This is a Nazi youth camp, okay? This is flat out, okay? Look at that, 2022. Look at, what is he, 5 years old? He's indoctrinated, okay? In what? So he's 5 years old. So in, let's say, 10, minimum of 10 years, this is the next Hamas soldier, minimum. In other words, what I'm saying, this takes a long time to teach and to indoctrinate them. So yes, and it is a horrible and it is a terrible thing. But again, the equipment can be replaced. Roads can be rebuilt, okay? Rocket launchers can be rebuilt, can be resupplied, okay? Bullets, guns, ammunition, that can all be resupplied. But that, look at that right there. It's a 5-year-old. That's going to take 10 more years to bring up to the point where it is a weapon.
I do want to say something a little bit funny.
Christ himself said, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea than he should offend one of these little ones.
Right. Now, if we did that, right. Let's say if that was in the Quran would be doing that to people because it's in their book. But now, are Christians doing it? No. But we know the implication is when they are offending these little ones, it would be better. You see the difference, dear Isa? I love you, sir. Thank you.
Well, I thank you. I love you too. The point that I would say, there's one little silly thing I want to put up. It's interesting how diverse the Palestinian people look. And it's interesting when I hear that Jewish people are these European people who've come in. I'm like, a lot of these people look like they're of European ancestry too, at least have mixed origin of European origin. So it's very funny when that the imam said, oh, you're, the Jews are of European. I'm like, so are you. Like, you want to say the Jews are of European ancestry, so are you. The Palestinians are too. So there's a mixture, obviously. But the point on this issue, I think, is this is a problem. We're dealing with a very kind of totalitarian narrative.
Isa, we know
the Jews got to do with it.
Okay, hold on. We know this is the problem.
Oh, no, the point that I had said about the Jews, that was a separate issue. I was saying that there was an imam who said that the Jews don't belong to they're not indigenous because they're from Europe. And I'm saying, well, look at the Palestinians. You see that there are a lot of European phenotypes as well, like blonde hair, blue eyes, these same phenotypical arguments that they're arguing against Jewish people having. Palestinians have the same phenotypes too.
Okay,
so,
okay. I'm not worried.
Well, but wait a minute. If you look at my grandson, hang on, please, Eric. If you look at my grandson, he's got dark blue eyes. I mean, the beautifulest blue eyes. His name is Amir, and you would probably think that he doesn't have any Arab in him. So you can't always judge a book by its cover. Thank you.
Oh, I'm saying they're mixed. What I'm saying is it's obviously that they're mixed. So I'm saying
and my son is mixed. My grandson is mixed. Yeah.
Your son is also your grandson also has European ancestry too. And I'm saying these Palestinians also have European ancestry. So they can't say I'm this pure indigenous people and the Jewish people are not when they both have the same kinds of phenotypes. That's the point that I'm making. I'm saying that this argument that the Jews are of European ancestry is a fallacious argument. Because if that's the case, so are the Palestinians. They both.
No, sure, no problem. But the thing is just what they're teaching these children that they have accepted.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. These are all Linda Sarsour, all the girls that are saying this. This is future Linda Sarsours
Okay.
You know, if we don't stop their leaders, you know what I mean? Thank you.
Wait a minute. Everybody's
guys wait.
assuming there's this place called Palestine. Where the hell is that? Can somebody
Okay,
show me a map of Palestine?
everybody. Sorry. Okay.
Where is that?
So
No such
so
place.
a couple things. Okay, a couple things. Ed, Connie. Okay, so a couple things. Okay, I think you all misunderstood what Issa was saying. Issa is saying very clearly that the argument from the Palestinian side, or the so-called Palestinian side, the Arab side, the pro-Hamas side, the pro-woke, the pro-everything side, that everything is communist, or that everything is capitalism and imperialism, and blah 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 blah. The idiots out there in the street is that these Palestinians or these Arabs are all of this dark indigenous people, and the Jews, because some of them are white looking European, they don't belong there. But Issa's point is, yeah, you look at these pictures, yeah, the Palestinians kind of look the same Europeanized, just as the Europeanized or white Jews that they're complaining about. That was simply all he was saying. Okay. Another point we've kind of degraded from the point that Eric wanted to bring up, and that is swine of the Dawah kind. Okay. Now, look, okay, we've all beat this horse to death. Okay. Well, okay, my point of view, okay, just really quickly, I am not for just rounding up random Muslim or random Arabs and killing them. What I am saying is that, yes, these jihadis, these Iranian-backed militias, these Houthis or whatever, okay, they signed up, they were brought up, they were raised up, okay, they are weapons, okay, that cannot be replaced. So you take them out, you take that human factor out, okay, they can have as many machine guns as they want, as many rockets as they want, but if they don't have that human factor, that human weapon that is willing to pull that trigger, that is willing to fire that, well, then you've just taken that away. So again, as Negan said, badass Negan, it's not that you kill someone, it's that you got to kill the right person at the right time and in the right way. So again, and look at Eric, he's like, no, that's not it. But anyway, so let's get back to the swine of the Dawah kind, because I know Eric has much more swine of the Dawah kind to bring up. I am sorry.
I do, but let me finish my point here.
Okay.
Here's my point. It doesn't matter, and I could care less if these guys were yellow, green, orange, blue, or I could care less the color of their skin. I could care less about their ethnicity.
Yes.
This whole issue is driven by ideology. You have created, how do you negotiate with a death cult? That's exactly what this is. This is a death cult. This video clearly establishes the fact that just as soon as a child can speak, that girl's 4 years old, for God's sake.
Yes.
Just as soon as a girl or a child can speak, if a child has, you teach them in their schools.
That is the weapon.
But that's not. No. The weapon is the ideology. You have to stomp out this ideology, this death cult mentality. Look what else goes on in this video, guys. This not only are they teaching the kids, they're teaching the parents. I'm glad that my son is a martyr. Everybody's glad that they're praising God, Allah, that my son killed himself.
Yeah, play it.
I'm happy for them. Look at this crap.
Yeah, let us listen.
قلت له يابا اللي بدك اياه مش متاسف الحمد لله شهيد مفتخر وانا الحمد لله رب العالمين ابني الحمد لله راح شهيد والحمد لله انه راح شهيد وانا بفتخر هذه تاعته.
This is a death cult from hell, and it's being pushed upon everybody and anybody around it. This guy, supposedly this guy named Muhammad, the praised one who lived in the 7th century, there is
they can't
so
prove
much
existence.
Go ahead, Eric.
Quit being technical, Ed. You're right. They can't prove it existed. They can't prove it. Anyway, this guy preached this hatred, this vitriol towards anybody that would not follow his cultish-like ideology. And those people that did call him out on it, what did he do? He had them killed. You cannot, and this is, I'm sorry, Issa, you cannot negotiate with these people. We have been trying, civilization. This isn't just the United States. This isn't just Christians. This isn't Jews. This is any civilized country, any civilized culture on the planet that comes in direct contact with Islam. There is friction. There is
they bring a fight.
Right. That's all you get. And then until you start calling it out and saying, look, you live in a death cult. You need to if you want to live amongst the civilized societies of this world, you need to get rid of this ideology that this person Muhammad brought you. If you read in the Quran, 98:6, what says what about Jews and Christians? What does it say about
we're worst of creatures, meaning we're even worse than Shaitan.
Right, we're the worst of creatures. And how are you to deal with the worst of creatures? Are you supposed to make treaties with them? Are you supposed to make pacts with them? Are you supposed to live among them? No, you're supposed to dominate them. And that's exactly what every single one of these societies is trying to do. When you go to Iran, what is Iran trying to do? Iran's trying to bring back the flipping, what do they call that? The 12th monthly or 12th month, whatever the hell it is. Because they think if you create so much, chaos on the earth, well, that guy's going to come crawling out of that flipping well.
Oh yeah, the 12th Imam. Yeah.
Right, whatever
the Mahdi.
He's going to come crawling out of his well, and he's going to set the world right. And they are taking all of their petrodollars that we are allowing them to get. Oh, by the way, Biden, anyway, to spread their hatred across every facet. Who's supplying the Hamas holds? Iran. Who's supplying the Hezbollahs? Iran. Who's supplying the Houthis? Iran. Who's supplying all of those people out in the middle of Syria and Iraq that are attacking our soldiers? Iran.
And Eric, Qatar. Christian Prince says Qatar is the main money purse of it all is Qatar.
Qatar is definitely right there in the middle of it all.
Well, we have a lot of. I'm not going to even go down that route. We have a lot of military aspects.
The reason why I say it only because I've heard Christian Prince say it, and he's our brother, and man, he knows this deep down. But he says, the big money purse is Qatar. But anyway, may I say something also?
Just let me land this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me just land this. You cannot negotiate with people that want your death. You just can't do it. When they teach their children to hate you, when they grow up hating you to the point where they're willing to kill themselves so they can kill you. You can't negotiate with the people like that. You have to destroy it. All right, Connie, go ahead.
Exactly.
Okay, how my this was my first grandson that came alive, right? Came out of the womb alive. And that is living now. God gave me his name. His name was John, and he gave me a song. This was before the mother named him. The mother named him John Christian. So that was her, to say that, no, this son of my son, her son, which is my grandson, is not going to be named after an Islamic name. Okay. And she named him John Christian. So, even women are doing their best, to stand against Islam, even if it's naming their child John Christian. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that, Connie. Does anybody have anything else they want to add to this before we get back to...
I do, real quick. Okay. As some of you may know, because I brought this up before, I've been listening.
Hold on, I gotta run out. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to you guys. So as some of you may know, I've been reading, or actually listening to, which I have actually downloaded now so I can share it with you all, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by Shriver. It is honestly the opus mementos, whatever you call it, opus magnus. Okay, this is a. It literally is over 50 hours of audio recording. It's multi-volume set. I mean, no, it is the definitive work on the rise and fall of the Third Reich, written by a man who was there. Okay, who was there, okay, for when the Third Reich came about to about halfway through, and then finally he got out. Oh, he was a reporter, okay, for various news organizations, and then finally he had to leave because it just got too bad during the end. But he went through. He compiled the diaries, all the no. He really did his research, and it was released in the 1960s. Okay, but it really is definitive work on the rise and fall of the Third Reich. You read this. You read this. No problem. You read this or you listen to it because I'm listening to an audiobook, which I can share you the link, or I can give you my private downloaded recording of it. Okay, and what you are seeing here in the Reich is my jihad. Mein Kampf is my struggle. My jihad. It literally is. I mean, no, seriously, it's not just Islam. It's Nazism. It's communism. We can take this, okay, this model, okay, and we can impose this on anything, okay. So, what basically what one of the main things that the Nazis did was they started these youth organizations. They took over the schools. And they started these youth organizations where the youth, they would go out camping and they would have social and sports and exercise. And it was a beautiful thing, right? Isn't that good? Remember when you was a kid, you was in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts and you went out and you did all kinds of stuff, or maybe you weren't in the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, but you still went out camping. You still went out and did all kinds of fun and cool stuff, right? No, but instead, this very same things that you see these Palestinian children spout are the very same thing that these blonde-haired, blue-eyed, young little Nazi children were spouting. And nobody cares that my German ancestors were burned in Dresden, were shot and killed and blown up, displaced. Nobody says, oh my God, you're displacing all these Germans in Berlin. We can't do that. No, nobody cares. Okay?
But don't you think it's still bad though, Brad, just how just German people were killed in this situation, and don't you think we could have done better? I think it's just we're limited as humans, and if we had better hindsight, I think we could have handled and trying to get rid of this mind.
Stop. Issa,
I was just gonna say if a frog had wings,
it was Nazis. It was Nazis.
Yeah,
we can go to the Japanese.
And that's how I see them as all as people. I see them all as human beings.
My dad.
I would choose the cow.
My dad was in this war. He had to fight in this war, and I'm here
so
to
did
tell
my grandfather. My grandfather was a Jewish man who was in World War II.
60 million people died in this war. Did you know that?
Well, no. Let me put it this way. There's a meme going around.
No. Hey, let's not graze over that.
Ed,
60 million people.
Ed, I'm going to address that. There is a meme going around. Actually, let me pull it up. I actually have it here, I do believe, where there's this meme going around by the pro-Palestinian faction, okay, on Twitter, where it says, never in the history of mankind has a war displaced over 80% of the population and has it killed, blah, blah, blah. You ever hear World War II? That's exactly what it did to Nazi Germany. That's exactly what it did to the Japanese. That's exactly what it did to the Chinese and the Indonesians, everything. No, this was total war. My point being is this, Issa. You are allowing your humanity to be used as a weapon against you. And that is a suicide pact.
That's what they plan. That's what they're playing.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. It is using your humanity as a weapon against you, and that is a suicide pact for any culture. because there has to be no. Sorry, you know what? And again, I am not saying like the Nazis did, where they would round up and they would just go raise an entire village after Heydrich was killed in Czechoslovakia. They
But we
raised
have to
3
remember
villages.
that
Yes,
these
no,
They
I'm not
also
saying
teamed.
that.
They also teamed up with the Muslims. Or did
we
everybody forget about that?
We have to
No,
remember
we didn't
German
forget
people lived
Yeah, we
peacefully.
haven't.
They lived peacefully with the Romani. They lived peacefully with Jewish people. They at least lived peacefully with all these people before Adolf Hitler came and took the platform. These people were all living together in harmony. So
The
it's
Hamas
not
holds,
violent.
the Hamas holds in the, stop. The Hamas holds and the Israelis had a ceasefire on October 6th. You cannot make treaties with these guys.
Well, and I'm with you. The
No
Hamas
such thing
are
as
villains.
treaties against
These are
Islam.
villainous.
No such thing.
And then that is a really sad thing because I've been in spaces where I'm like, look, I care about Palestinian lives, but you can't support Hamas. Like, I've heard people say Hamas are freedom fighters, and I'm like, what freedom are they fighting for? How many people have died based on what they've done? How much damage has been?
Hang on, let him finish. But
I'm still waiting for
just
somebody to give me a
just
map
let
of
Issa
Palestine.
finish.
Where the hell is this place? Where is Palestine? Where
I
is it?
know it's okay, but can Issa please finish? Thank you.
Crap. That's bull crap.
These people call themselves Palestinians, so that's what I'm going to say that they are. They're saying the
No,
province of
they're not.
Palestinian British Mandate of Palestine. This is what they consider. This is their identity. I guess. It's
Okay, so Issa, I can say that you're a swine pig, and that's okay.
Ed,
You're good with that?
Well, it would be okay if I said I'm a swine and a pig. It wouldn't be okay if you
Let's
called
play
me that.
devil's advocate. Let's play devil's advocate. What do you call them, Ed?
What do I call them? I call them Egyptians. I call them Arabs, because that's what they are. They're the people. They're from Egypt. They're from Saudi Arabia. They're from all over everywhere else, and they came in to that area. They invaded that area because of the Israelis. That's why they're there.
Well,
is to kick the Israelis out of there. That's why they're there.
Okay, I'm down with your struggle in saying that they're not Palestinians. There's no such place as Palestine, and we can go back through the history and say that this is just a word imposed upon the people of that region by the Romans because they wanted the Bar Kokhba revolt and they wanted to throw the Jews. We can do it.
Right.
The fact is that this is what these people call themselves, and
Yes.
I don't think it's productive to
Okay.
parse word. I just don't think it's productive to parse words every single time.
All right.
People of Palestine. Everybody knows.
When I say
Samaria, everybody knows it's Judea and Samaria. That's the proper name of it.
But when I say I'm American, am I actually making a claim that I belong to a country called America? You're damn right I am.
Yes.
And you know I am.
Wait.
So
Hold on.
when I say no, I'm not going to hold on. No, I'm not going to hold on.
Hold on a second, Ed. Show me the country of America. Where does this country of America exist? Show me it on the map. Just the country of America.
America. Sure thing. I can show that to you.
Well, of course.
Okay.
There you go. So you can say that.
Yeah.
No. There is no country of America. There's a country called the United States.
Oh,
of
get
America.
over it. We're off topic. We're
off
topic.
This is the point let's
get back on topic.
All right. Let's get back on topic. Go ahead.
Please. Okay, let's get back to this.
Sorry,
rape
Ed.
of Britain. Rape of Britain. I have like a billion birds in my front yard right now. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Yeah, I had big ducks. I had big ducks flying over our house, and we could even hear them.
If they were flying over mine, you could hear the shots going off at them. Okay.
So, oh no.
All right. So, Rape of Britain. Tommy Robinson talks about this, and we all know what happened to those 1,400 girls in was it Rotterdam? Here it is. It's right here. I got it up in the screen. Right here it is. These guys, these Asians, Southwest Asians, Western Asians, oh, by the way, are now getting out of jail, doing less than half of the time for sex abusing and trafficking these girls. So they're now, let's see, at least 11 key members sentenced to over 180 years have been quietly released. So here again, we have, these people coming in and, feeling that they can do whatever they want to do.
Say that again. The
Right
dudes that were convicted, the married
11,
few that were convicted.
11 members sentenced to over 180 years are now being released already.
Wow.
Terrible.
So again,
wow.
So again, let me go back to this thing. Again, I highly recommend The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Contact me later on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and I will give you the links to the audio recording. Again, it's over like 100 hours of book recording that you have to listen to. I've been listening to it for like the last year and a half. Okay. But anyway, here's the funny thing. We all sit there and we go with the Nuremberg trials. There were more than the initial Nuremberg trials. There were the doctors' trials. There were the soldiers' trials. There were all kinds of trials for these Nazis. Do you know the only ones that were sentenced to death? There were very few sentenced to death. All of them in the first Nuremberg trial, they were all sentenced to death, except for Albert Spears. He got like 15 years and he was out in 10. Okay, but all the rest of these dudes that willingly participated, either they were guards or they were commandants or whatever in these concentration camps or in part of the Eisengruppen. Most of them, if they got a death sentence, very few of them were executed. Most were out of prison after 5 to 10 years. Seriously. A lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, they made a big deal. Oh, yes, we sentenced them all to death. No, they didn't. Their death sentences were commuted, and then later on their life sentences were commuted, and they were out of prison.
Well, we had that. There was an interview being done on the BBC last week where the interviewer is just dragging this Israeli representative across the coals about all the bad things that have that's going on in Gaza right now because of the military operation that they're conducting. And the common reply by the Israeli is, well, what would you have us do? What these guys every single day, Hamas is committing hundreds. Every single day, Hamas is committing hundreds of war crimes. And the question is that okay, who is going to hold the Hamas holes responsible for this? Who is going to stop this? And the guy's answer is, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that time when the time comes. And the fact is, as Regis said, the time never comes. The time always comes and goes. And those people who are responsible, are never held to full account. They're never. Well, if you look at what the Israelis are forced to do, they snatch a bunch of their soldiers, they snatch a bunch of the people off the street, and now they're being required to release hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have committed crimes against the nation of Israel from these lands, from the West Bank, so-called, and from the Gaza Strip. These people are being released, and they're demanding the release of even more of what these people do. So the question is there is no accounting of this, and it's just like you said. It's just like Nazi Germany all over. Some of the high-ranking people, yes, sure, okay, fine. They were punished, they were hung. But the majority of the people that committed the majority of the people that committed the most heinous crimes were set free and were walking around. And if you ever see, there's a good movie
after 5 years.
Right, there's a good movie about the capture of Adolf Eichmann. And when we think about, justice, the long arm of the Mossad reaching across the planet to bring justice, yes, that is an isolated example. Extreme rarity. The majority
they had a guy that they praised in the Canadian Parliament that was definitely part of the Eisengruppen, the Ukrainian Eisengruppen, that went through and killed Jews.
Yeah.
Okay, and they praised him in the Canadian Parliament. Now he's 90-something years old. What are you going to do with the dude? He's 90-something years old. what are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Throw him in prison and let him die in prison. That's
okay.
that's the only justice that there is for those people. All right, and here's a little picture for your enjoyment. This is where Al Husseini is meeting with Adolf Hitler. What is this? Vintage 1941. Can you guys see that at all?
I see it.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay.
It says 1941.
Yeah, 1941. Yeah. And then evidently there's some type of film being made that I saw that that deals with it. But I think that a film being made, the film is supposed to depict the grandson of Al Husseini, the grandson, or let's see, the grandson of Islamist leader and Hitler devotee, traveled a journey to meet the grandson of Adolf Hitler. Okay, so this is a fictional movie, which is, I think, a good thing, even though it's fictional, where it publicizes the fact that this guy Al Husseini joker right here, this guy was a Nazi collaborator, and this guy was the mentor of Yasser Arafat. Now, when we think of Yasser Arafat, he founded, a lot of people don't follow the history of the timeline on this. He founded the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, in 1964. The West Bank was still under the control of the Jordanians at the time. It belonged to the Palestinians. Sorry, Ed. Right, yeah, and he was an Egyptian. He had nothing to do with being a Palestinian. So the fact that when we start talking about this whole idea of a Palestine, this whole idea of a people group, is a bunch of bunk. And this is one of the architects of it. You create this facade that there was a bunch of displaced people there. And now you have these evil Jews took the land from them, and now they have to give it back, and there has to be this organization. Hold on, I'm getting to this one. Hold on, this is good. This is good. Where'd they go? They're right here. Well, here we are. There we go. Right here. UNRWA. Yes, we've all heard of UNRWA before, have we not? Of course we have. UNRWA is that relief organization, that is dedicated to specifically perpetuating the victimhood of these Palestinian people, of these displaced people. Never in the history of the flippin' world has this right of return or this status as a refugee ever been passed down generationally. The only place that this is passed down generationally is in Israel. The only place where you have an entire government, an entire bureaucracy created in the United Nations that perpetuates this victimhood status of the Palestinians is this organization, UNRWA. This is the only relief organization out there that is allowed to operate in Gaza, in the West Bank. It's the only relief organization authorized to do that. Well, why is that? The problem is that these people, here we are, you have 100, Israel says that there's 190 staff members that belong to these militant groups. They have this guy right here. Where is he? Let's listen to what this guy says right here. This guy is golden. He is testifying. Who's he testifying in front of? I don't know who he's testifying, but he does a good job of doing it. Listen to what this guy has to say. Listen to this.
Possibly have been shocked that UNRWA employees are implicated in terrorism. Because the past 9 years, and Chairman Smith knows very well because he's been on this issue and he's invited me to testify, we've been uncovering, publishing, and submitting to the UN, to UNRWA, evidence of widespread and systematic incitement to jihadi terrorism, the praise of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, calls to slaughter Jews on the part of UNRWA teachers, school principals, other employees. These reports range from 10 to 200 pages. For example, just in November, we sent a report on 20 teachers who celebrated the October 7th massacre.
Okay, 20 teachers.
Yeah, I watched that lately. Thank you.
20 teachers, UNRWA teachers celebrating the October 7th massacres. 12 members. 12 members. Yeah, they're teaching these kids to be Hitler Youth is what they're doing. 12 members of UNRWA were fired, which is really weird. That you think about how bad you have to screw up in order to get fired. It's like being a government employee of the United States. I mean, you practically have to kill somebody or post something bad on social media, and evidently, to get fired. You have 20 teachers.
Well,
20
you can have
teachers
gay butt
celebrating.
sex in the Senate chambers and not get fired. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, not get prosecuted.
You could have what?
No, the dude,
physical relations. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, the dude that was a Senate aide who had the gay butt sex.
Stop.
No, there's no crime. They said there's no crime. You can literally have gay naked butt sex in the Senate chambers and film it, and it's no crime. But you go on a guided tour by, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Just saying.
Thank you for making me want to do voodoo. Okay, so here you have
Yeah,
these
do the
people.
voodoo, man.
I'm gonna have to go do something. That's just
Good,
idea.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
I
so-
actually do agree. I think this UNRWA stuff is very problematic. I've heard the stuff that's in the books, and I'm like, there's a lot of anti-Semitism, and you're right. Like that has to be challenged first and foremost.
Who's managed, Nisa? Who's managed all of this money
come
for
on.
all of these years? Who's managed
Right.
all
United
this money?
States of America.
UNRWA. And where is it?
it's
Where's
very
this money
problematic.
ended up at? Where's it end? It's ended up in the coffers of these guys sitting in these luxury hotels, living in these luxury high-rise apartments in Qatar, while the rest of the Palestinian people are suffering
Nazi
and
youth.
starving to death
Right.
in
Nazi
the
youth.
street.
Right.
And you have the funding and of the procurement of supplies to be administered and delivered by UNRWA to do what? Build miles. Good Lord, to build miles of terror tunnels underneath the Gaza Strip. And we just sit back and say, "Oh, let them do it. No problem."
Okay.
Hell no.
Yeah. Say that again, Eric. Say that again, Eric.
This is an organization that administered the disbursement of all of these supplies that were supposed to be meant for humanitarian infrastructure to be built in Gaza, to include pipes for sewers and fresh water. Instead, they used the pipes to create rocket launchers. They used all the cement that was supposed to build these schools, these hospitals, and physical housing for the people to build tunnels under the ground so they could go kill Jews. This is the same organization that did this. This is the organization, and the people with that organization ought to be taken out and not shot, because that would be unfair,
Yes,
but to be imprisoned along with all of the other people who committed all of these attacks on October 7th.
Okay, let me
This
just
guy
interject
does
here.
a great job of testifying to it.
Let me just bring this back again.
Oh, it's before
This
Congress. I'm
again-
sorry. Hold on, right here. Before Congress. Sorry. Go ahead, Rand.
No. Okay, let me just bring this back to the model of Nazi Germany. No, what they've done is they've created an education system that is education, that is educating, generations of weapons. These are weapons, okay? I want you, I cannot stress this enough. These are human weapons, okay? They have raised them up, they are training them, and they're introducing them into society, okay, as human weapons. Okay, all right, just like the Hitler Youth. You can sit there and say, "Oh my God, the cute little Nazi German girl with the ponytails that got the machine gun that's killing me." There's a great scene from a couple of movies where they have a cute little German girl with the braids, and she's like, "I'm going to die for the Fuhrer," and she died. Okay, it's that.
It's
simple.
a lot of work. It's a lot. It's
Yes.
because it's intense programming, and that's why I said it's a mental virus. It's a mental virus. It's not the human. It's the mental virus. That's the problem.
Exactly, and it's generational. This is the problem. It's generational.
I know, and anti-Semitism is a big problem. It's a huge problem. It's a big problem. Even in America, it was.
But no, this has been going on for multiple generations.
I know.
So we've got to stop the funding. And honestly, Gaza, I'm sorry. How many times has this risen up? Look, you can look at videos of Gaza. Gaza could be the twin city of Tel Aviv. Gaza is actually better than Tel Aviv, okay? In far as beaches and harbors are concerned, okay? It really is. It could be the jewel of the Mediterranean. It really could be, okay? I mean, just in industrialized trade alone, Gaza could be, okay? Not to mention, okay, yeah, hotels, casinos, okay, tourism, good food, whatever. It really, really could be. But instead of doing that, what did they do? They built the tunnels. They built the rockets. They fired these stupid rockets that, honestly, unless you get a direct hit walking down the middle of the street, it's not really going to kill you, or it may harm you if you're 100 feet away. These rockets do nothing. Most of them are shot down. Most of them turn back and land back in Gaza, but they fire them every single day. It is stupid. It is irresponsible. We have the Gaza leaders saying the best thing we did was to trick the world that we were interested in governing our own people. But really, we were fighting the jihad to launch the October 6th. No, seriously. This is their people. I'm sorry.
No, I
It is
hear you.
generational.
And I
And it
think
needs
that
to be destroyed.
I think that's a
Destroyed.
very strong
Destroyed.
perspective. I don't think that works for me,
Okay.
but
Well,
I think
I'm not
we need a
worried
better
about that.
position. But I think the point with the October 7th, it is horrendous when people are like, this was okay, like it was freedom. There was no essay on women. I don't
Look
want
at it, they all
human rights
celebrated
issues.
it. It was a
And to
beautiful
me, that's
day.
horrendous. That's horrendous. There's no
Right.
celebration
No,
of women
Issa,
being
wait,
assaulted.
Issa, they all celebrated it. You can go into Twitter accounts. You got to go back. They've all deleted them now, but you can go back to the Wayback Machine. You can recapture some of them. They all celebrated it. Oh, alhamdulillah, it's a great thing. Alhamdulillah, look, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden the next day, oh my God, you're killing innocent people. How dare you do this? No.
I mean, I
Again,
did see that. I did see, especially
Yes.
the thing. No, well, the thing that I was really starkly shocking for me was when the 10/7 happened. I felt hit, like it viscerally hit me. I was very emotionally hurt by it. And what happened was a lot of my folks and my friends, no one put posts saying this is horrendous, this is bad. But when the strike happened against Palestine, immediately it was like I was like, this is insane. I'm like, do you care about all of these lives, or do you just care about some of them?
Again, Issa, this is the thing. This is what you have to decide.
I understand.
Sorry.
I
It is
understand.
it is a binary decision. This is a binary decision. There is our side, and there is their side.
I will choose the cow.
Exactly.
I just find
really
it
is what it comes down to.
I
It's a
find it
binary
really
decision. There are no alternatives. It is a binary decision. It is your side, my side. Okay?
I will choose the cow.
Bam.
I just find it to be it's a very sad situation that occurred, and it's like, and it's tragic, and it's a tragedy, and then anybody who thinks that was okay, and they said, well, they just took hostages, and actually the IDF did it, and I'm like, you do know there are Muslims in the IDF too. Like, the IDF is not just some Jewish army; it's actually a multicultural, multi-religious army.
Hang on, let him finish, just please. Just let Issa finish. Thank you, hon.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a multicultural, multi-religious army, and I think people need to know that. Like, it's like people think that it's just, and I think Christians serve. It's like anybody can serve in the IDF. It's just like the American military. You can be Muslim, you can be Hindu, you can be Christian, Jewish. It's the same kind of thing because it's a democratic space.
Okay, whose orders are they following?
You're talking about like in the Israeli army? I mean, it would be the state of Israel, but I mean the state of Israel is secular. You know, it's not necessarily. It's like America. Israel's state is a secular state like America. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's not saying, hey, we're going to push like a Jewish rule and everyone. We don't push a Christian rule here, even though majority of the country is Christian. We don't like say, hey, we're going to push this Christian agenda on everyone, because that's what freedom's about. That's what democracy is supposed to be about. So,
Yeah, if you're an Israeli, if you are an Israeli citizen, you know, once you get to a certain age, it's mandated to go into the military. And yes, some of them are Muslims, and they will follow, you know, their leaders under Israeli military. Thank you.
that's right. You're right, and that's the same thing. It's that whatever the government is, you're going to follow the government, and
Yeah.
you know that. And some Muslims, and
Actually-
for some Muslims, that's the reading that you have to follow the country, and for some, it's not. So just
Actually, I got a video here. You mentioned Muslims serving in IDF. I got a video here. Speaking of swine of the jihad kind, or yeah, swine of the. Actually,
You
no,
said
maybe
swine
I
of the
should-
jihad kind.
Yeah, no, that actually no.
Swine
It
of the
says it's
jihad
Dawah.
kind.
No, it
No,
says
that's a
no,
good
Dawah-
name. That is a good
Yeah,
name.
no,
Swine of the
no, it's-
jihad kind.
Well, no. This is swine. This is episode 2 of swine of the Dawah kind. Maybe it's swine of the jihad kind. But anyway, here is swine of the jihad kind, Ali McDawah. Okay. No, there was a Muslim. Okay, served in the IDF who was killed in Gaza. But let's just play his reaction, if you do not mind, Eric. Sorry for
Got
taking
no
over.
problem with that.
No problem with that. Here we go. Listen. Oh, you can't hear it. Why can't you hear it?
Come on, dude.
Mute.
Dude, get it
Muted.
together. Get it together, Rad.
You're a slacker.
Muted. It's muted.
Amateur.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
This shouldn't be done because there is a question mark on Islam. There is a big question mark on Islam to go and join a force who is actively massacring your brothers and sisters.
I was just
Question
looking for
Imagine
this,
the people
Rad.
back in the
Thank
day
you.
Let's
and they would have to
hold on,
travel certain
Festus.
distances. Gives you reminders. Download the Quranic app now and let it.
I don't want
By
to
the way, I'm trying to find his penis pills advertisement.
No,
I was
don't.
No, let's don't do
When
that.
I heard these news, I was as shocked as you guys were.
Who
I
cares?
didn't know.
Well, he wouldn't be
there are
shocked.
Muslims
He
who are
wouldn't be
serving in the
shocked.
IDF. It shocks you. It genuinely shocks you.
No.
I don't know if these people are. There's firstly a big question mark when it comes to the scholars on this person's Islam or these individuals' Islam. For you
Pause
to
it,
serve
Rad.
in the
Rad,
army,
can you pause it just a
Yes?
second? I want
I
to
don't-
ask. I would like
Scholars.
to ask.
Pause.
I would like to ask Ali Dawah. You know, the big
McDowah. Go ahead.
The question mark is that, you know, if he's questioning why you have Muslims fighting for the IDF, and they're going to have to answer to Allah, why aren't you fighting for the Hamasals? What are you doing sitting on this very comfortable couch here in England, about a mile away, Mr. Brave Man? What are you doing there, sitting there, and while your brothers in arms are fighting these evil Jews?
Yeah.
He's making the
I
Ali,
hate
Ali,
like this.
more like Ali Sissy.
And the Quran even says if you're under a certain country, you obey, you know, their laws. So they're even going against the Quran.
But okay, well, he's making the jihadi dollars.
Of course he is. But he's going against the Quran. He's going against his own Allah.
No, they make the jihadi dollars and they give a certain cut to the jihadis.
Okay.
Dude, I am telling you this right now, all of you. I have the clip, and Eric has seen it, and also Apostate Prophet has seen it, where on October 6th, Muhammad Hijab, says, "May Allah forgive the Muslims for the deeds that they do unintentionally in jihad in battle." Blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've seen all that, and it's not unintentional, by the way.
No, they knew what was happening. They knew something was going down. But anyway, let's continue playing.
I believe that too.
Remember, okay, so let me give you some background. Okay, the Bedouin Arabs, who are mostly Muslims, they hate these Palestinians because these Palestinians drove them off of their land. This is no joke. They have roaming lands because they're Bedouins, right? Okay, so they're nomadic. Okay, they graze and stuff like that. Well, all of a sudden the quote unquote Palestinians came into, and they drilled and they put up fences, they put up borders, and they said, no, you can't graze your sheep or camel or whatever. Okay, you can't be a Bedouin anymore. So the Israelis really wisely and smartly reach out to these Bedouin Muslims, and these Bedouin Muslims really hate the quote unquote Palestinian Muslims. No, they despise them for what they did.
They're proud of that.
And they're really proud of that. But anyway, so this is one of the Bedouin Muslims. But notice this dude, all because he joined the Israeli army. Now think about what this is saying. If a Muslim joins the United States of America military and we send them off to Iraq or Afghanistan, all of a sudden they've lost their right to be called a Muslim. They've lost their right for prayer. But let's continue. This is what he's saying. And this is what we are dealing with here.
I don't know if it's something that's forced or whatever that matter. Well, I don't want to talk big, but I would rather die or be killed or be shot in the back of the head
Not a problem.
than know that I'm going to go to Gaza and I'm going to go and massacre my own brothers and sisters.
Why
Innocent men,
Gaza?
women, and children.
Why not Iraq? Why not Afghanistan? Why not Syria? Why not go to Syria in battle ISIS Muslims who you say you despise and do not support? You know what I mean?
He's a coward.
Yes.
This is what these guys.
Yes.
They're not
Yes.
soldiers. They're cowards. They want to sit there. They all talk a big game, but until he gets his ass off that couch, picks up a Kalashnikov, and joins the battle, he's a piece of crap. That's all he is.
Muhammad Hedjab. This is Muhammad Hedjab's wife. Okay.
There you go.
Of course, he's a coward, Eric. But the point is, he's an influencer. He is influencing other Muslims, and he was telling them in the UK, you cannot join the UK military if they're going to send you off to Iraq, to Syria, to whatever,
this is what you got
to defend your nation.
This is what you got with this guy, Hassan Akbar. Look this guy up.
Anyway, well, no, let's bring this up. Let me play it. Let me continue.
Go ahead.
Playing.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, you got to pull it up.
I ain't got to pull it up. You got to pull it up.
You killed it.
I did not.
I'm trying to figure out what makes him the authority of Muslim.
All right, here we go. Let's play it.
In this matter. So this is the funeral prayer. When I first heard, it's kind of a joke. Yeah, no, it's true. This person, Abu Latif, or I don't know his name for that matter, who was killed in Gaza, yes, by the resistance. Let's watch it for ourselves.
The resistance.
Taken back to even doing this video, like, let's watch the video, inshallah, and watch the funeral prayer.
TikTok.
A Muslim IOF soldier was murdered yesterday. You heard that right. According to the Mossad, his name was Ahmed Abu Latif. Clearly, Rabbina ma latafsh alayh. Nobody's really crying or sad for his death. But anyways, enjoy the hereafter.
So guys, subhanAllah, as you can see, now I've spoken to my teachers. My teachers said very clearly, yep, there's maybe opinions here and there when it comes to, you study through the janazah prayer. But the scholars, the majority of the view is that this person's Islam is in question. There's a big question mark. The fact that
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Even that is like weird. But for him to go and outright join the IDF in the battleground, on the front lines against the resistance, or whoever for that matter, and get killed, they use the evidence from Hatib ibn Abi Balta when he wrote a letter to his family, or the Mushrikeen, or along those lines, if I'm not mistaken, that the Muslim armies are coming. And this letter was obviously by Wahi that the Prophet ﷺ ordered Umar ibn Khattab or Ali radiallahu anh to go. There was a woman carrying this, and subhanAllah, they found this letter, they opened it, they confronted Hatib ibn Abi Balta radiallahu anh, and Khalid bin Walid said, let me hit the neck of this munafiq. And outright, this is hypocrisy.
Who had the
obviously,
letter?
Hatib made it very clear.
Do you know what a munafiq is?
Yeah, he's conflating, but he's conflating. You know, the Quran says if you're under, you know, the other countries, you're supposed to obey the laws. So he's conflating, right? You know, he's just conflating two opinions here with Islam. Thank you.
Well, no. Well,
Yeah, you're right. That's fair.
No, he's calling this dude a money.
A munafik,
which
a
means
munafik is a hypocrite.
Yeah, which goes against Islam, which goes against the Quran.
He's declaring takfir. He's takfiring this person.
Yes, he is, and he's ignoring the Quran. Thank you.
But are you talking about the Meccan Quran or the Medina Quran? Because they
Right, Sharon. Yeah, Sharon, come on, Sharon. Hang on, Brad. Please, Sharon. Go ahead, Sharon.
Oh, because
No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to mute everybody.
Oh, come on. Let the lady speak. Let the lady speak. Let Sharon speak for 30.
No.
What are you doing, man?
No, there is no difference between the Mecca Surah, the Meccan Quran, and the Medina Quran when it comes to the munafiqeen. They are hypocrites. They need to be destroyed.
they're hypocrites, but
okay, yes. So there's no difference.
The Meccan Quran is used like in the first stages of jihad, you know, to trick us, and then as their numbers grow, they use the Medina Quran, and then some go ahead and use it anyway, the Medina Quran. But
okay, that has nothing to do with what he's saying. No, this is not what he's doing.
Yeah, but this. Yeah. Go ahead, Sharon.
They call our land Dar al Harb because we're not obeying Sharia. So that obeying our laws. I mean, when they take an oath of office, even if they're voted into a political office, they can lie. It's called hiyal. You know, it's
but he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth.
There's a lot of countries that aren't following. There's a lot of countries that aren't following Sharia. That's bad.
Yeah, and this guy. Yeah, and this guy. Thank you, Brad. This guy that we see on the screen, he's totally ignoring the Quran. The Quran says if you're under a certain country, you're supposed to obey their laws, and he's totally going against it. Thank you.
No, he talked. He went to the scholars. He went to his teachers. You didn't hear this part. And the teacher's like, well, you know, there is some question.
Heard.
You know, no. Do you give the funeral prayer? Okay, we can do this. But
there is no question funeral prayer.
No, there is no question of the scholars or of his teachers that says that you are to join the military of the kuffar and go out and fight and kill your Muslim brothers. No, he says this.
Yeah. I agree. I agree to that. He's and that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. There's a conflict in Islamic sources.
No, it's not a conflict. No, he's saying there is no conflict.
Yeah, but the thing is the Quran says. The thing is the Quran says if you're under a certain country, you're supposed to obey their laws.
That's true.
And yes, sir. And I know, and that's the conflict.
You guys are giving me a headache. All right.
Hey.
I agree with Connie on this. So I think this is why
right. The Quran says this, but then you got the scholars saying the opposite, and that's what I'm saying is there's a conflict in Islam. There's contradictions in the Islamic sources regarding the Quran, and then.
Okay, I'm muting everybody. Stop. Think of what you are saying. Hold on. Think of what you are saying, Connie. You are saying.
Okay, I'm listening.
No.
Sorry.
Think of what you are saying. You are saying what Ali Dawah said is wrong. You are saying that Muslims can go and fight, okay, against the Jews, according to the Quran. Is that your position?
Yes, because it says if you're in a certain country, you're supposed to obey their laws.
Okay. So
I've got a stronger case here, but I am saying. Well, wait a minute. I'm not trying to make a point, but I'm just trying to show the conflict and the contradiction of the Quran versus the jurisdiction afterwards, like 250 years after Islam. So I'm just showing the contradiction how Islam
Right.
is. Thank you.
Okay, but no,
The
but the
jurisprudence,
Quran
yeah.
but the Quran clearly
Exactly,
states.
the jurisprudence.
The Quran clearly states, if you are fighting against the mujahideen, then you are a hypocrite.
I agree.
If you
I
are
agree.
not, okay,
Yes.
so the position that you are taking, that you have to obey the laws of the kuffar country, okay, that means that you have to join their military and go out and kill the resistance or their Gazinians or whatever, is against
Yes.
what Ali McDowell is saying is completely false.
Right.
Because
Right.
the reason why the reason why is because then that becomes the hypocrite. No, you are to obey the
Well,
laws of your Kafir nation as long as you don't become a hypocrite. In other words, you are to obey the laws and say, okay, look, I got to pay taxes. I got to, I can't speed. I can't, commit openly murder. I can't, sacrifice my children to Allah. But when it comes to this sort of stuff, where when it comes to, okay, joining the U.S. military to defend the U.S. or the Israeli military to defend the Israelis against these jihadi terrorists, okay, no, you can't do that
It's
because you're
debatable,
killing your
Rad.
Muslim brothers.
It's
yeah, but
debatable because you have Muslims in the
I
military.
see. Yeah,
If
yeah,
that was
I see what
valid,
you're saying, Rad, and that just shows the contradiction of Islam. One point it says obey, and then another point in the Quran or the Jewish prudence of Islam is contradicting itself. That's all I'm trying to show, sir. Thank you. I agree with yes, sir.
but
I get what you're saying, but you're
Rad,
defending them.
But Rad, I think the issue is that you're going to have a polythic argument because first and foremost, people could say, okay, these people are Salafi Wahhabis, and I don't agree with their perspective of Islam, and these people are actually going against Islam because, for example, there are rules of engagement in Islam. Whatever you feel about Islamic tradition, there are rules of engagement. And we talked about this, Rad, having guns, having bombs. You can't, that would be an innovation even to their own standard. The Salafi cannot actually accept guns and bombs. They have to fight with swords and bows and arrows. They need to come out on the field with bows and arrows.
No, Isa,
No, but
that's
that's the rules
not
of
correct,
engagement.
my kind sir. Right.
Wait a minute. I thought there was only one Islam.
No,
What's going on here?
Wait, stop. Isa actually brought this up to the great Imam of Texas, and the great Imam of Texas said, "You're absolutely right. We should only be fighting with bows and arrows and swords."
I mean, okay, according to, if you're a Wahhabi, then you have to take that position. That is the position of the Wahhabi. I'm saying the Wahhabi's position
no
is
ships,
they believe
no
that
navy.
the Quran and the Hadith are literal, and we must abide to them for all time. And anything else that's an innovation is haram. So these are innovations. If I'm fighting with a gun, that's an innovation. And excuse me, I shouldn't even use a cell phone. I should use a, or I shouldn't use like a technology. I should use sundials and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I shouldn't use. I should ride a camel and not a car.
But if the Wahhabi believe that, why do they have nuclear bombs?
Well, because it's it's funny. It's a monathic position. It's a hypocrite position.
Exactly.
They're taking a hypocritical position.
No, this is what I'm talking about.
But they use it. But they use it to kill the kuffar. So Islam is just very demonic. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's so conflicted. Right. Exactly.
This is what Ali Dawah says. They're munafiqs. If you join your country, your nation, to defend against Hamas terrorists, okay, let me put this to you in perspective. In Nazi Germany, there were Christians in Nazi Germany. That would be like saying to the United States of America, which at that time was mostly Christian, saying you cannot join this army to go out and kill these Germans because they're Christians. Really? No, we can do that. Okay, or even in Japan, there were Christian missionaries. Actually, there were German Christian missionaries in Japan. So we can't go to war with them, even though they're attacking us and killing us,
That's a
because
straw man argument.
they're Christians. No, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
I understand, Rad. So, look at Eric. Look at Eric. He's.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to let him speak.
Okay, Eric.
Sorry,
I will unmute you,
sorry for
Eric.
holding
Come
this
back
long
here.
conversation. We apologize.
Yes, Eric. Come on back.
I'm reading through their Islamic law, and
Come on.
And I'm trying to figure out, okay, so the bottom line is Ali Dawah is saying that anybody that if you are a Muslim and you join the enemy, Jews, Christians, or otherwise, you therefore are a hypocrite and you are not allowed to do that. And he has a solid case for this. If you turn to page 604, and it starts talking about the objectives of jihad, rules for warfare. 603, rules for warfare. It is not permissible to kill women or children unless they're fighting against the Muslims. So if you're fighting against the Muslims, you are guilty. Nor is it permissible to kill animals unless they're being ridden in battle against the Muslims, or if killing them will help defeat the enemy. It is permissible to kill old men more than 40 years of age and monks. It is unlawful to kill a non-Muslim to whom a Muslim has given his guarantee of protection. Oh, wow. Whoever enters in Islam before being captured may not be killed or his property confiscated or his uncle. So if he's a Muslim, you can't fight them. When a children or woman is taken captive, they become slaves by the fact of capture, and the woman's previous marriage is immediately annulled. How sick is that? When an adult man is taken captive, the caliph considers the interests of the Islam and the Muslims and decides between the prisoner's death, slavery, release without paying anything, or ransom him in exchange for money or for a Muslim captive. So in other words, if you are fighting against a Muslim, you are considered the enemy.
So here's a question. This is where it gets tricky. The question is who are considered Muslim or not, because Ali Dawah is doing the same thing. He's saying these people are not Muslim.
Well,
so it's the game. If he says, she says, who's the true Muslim and who's not?
And this is this is where everything is subjective, and then you
Yeah.
die the death of 1,000 different qualifications. But the bottom line is,
let me answer that question.
Can I finish?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It is your show.
Okay, thanks. You die the death of 1,000 qualifications of trying to figure out who is a Muslim and who's not. The person who gets to make the decision, I'll tell you who the person who gets to make the decision is the person with the gun. That in Islam, that is the one who makes the decision. It's not who's right or wrong or who's got a better argument based on, if they obey the laws, they're supposed to obey the laws of the land. Well, what if those laws of the land require you to buy insurance, which insurance is strictly and specifically prohibited according to Islamic law? So when we start talking about are you going to be persecuted or prosecuted by the state of Israel? No, you're fighting on behalf of the state of Israel. But if you are captured by the Hamas holds, or it comes out and finds out that you fought for the Israeli army against the Hamas holds, they're going to kill you. And that's just the way it is. We can sit here and make all the arguments we want to tonight. But the bottom line is that they are going to be killed if they sided against the Muslims with the Jews. If you side with the Christians, or I'll look this one up. Go ahead.
I wanted to tell a story, a small, short one. I read this book, or half of it. It was one of the most sickening books I've ever read in my life. It was called The Turner Diaries. And it basically was this book by, I actually had to get it from a neo-Nazi website because I was like, I want to know what this book is. So it's actually a very poorly written book, but the person's an engineer, so his stuff, when he writes about engineering, it's very well, but he doesn't know how to tell a story. But basically, it's a story about a white supremacist who wanted to destroy the government. And it has a little section about how they hate Israel and they hate Jews and they hate black people, and white people are just great and amazing and wonderful, and their version of Christianity is great and awesome and wonderful. But there are a lot of white supremacists. And really, I've never read a book where I hate the heroes of the book. Like, I actually despise the heroes more. Like, I can empathize more with the villains of the text than the heroes, which is really an amazing feat of this kind of text. It's a white supremacist book, but what he does in it is he justifies killing fellow white people who have relations with non-whites. He says, yeah, it's good to kill them because they're sullying themselves of their whiteness and pureness, whatever whiteness means. It's a made-up construction, obviously, but because anything, what we can call anything white or not. This is Timothy
McVeigh.
Timothy McVeigh read this book. Yes, that's correct. That's right, in the Oklahoma
Yeah,
City building.
yeah.
So this was his Bible, and white supremacists love this book. But it's a very sickening book, and basically in the text, it justifies the killing of other white people. Even though they're trying to create a white utopia, they have to kill other whites who don't follow their thing. And this probably fits the same way. How do you justify saying, I hate these Muslims because they are Muslim? It's very hard to try to, you could try to take the reliance on the scholar and try to finagle it. But if they are Muslim, they haven't done anything that violated their creed of Islam. Like, they pray 5 times a day, they fast, they do all of the pillars of Islam. It's going to be very hard to just say, okay, they're not Muslim anymore.
Like what we do with you, Issa, right? You're Muslim. Like what we do with you, sir, right?
No.
Right, Issa? Wait a minute, Ed. Or Brad. Right, Issa? Like what we do with you. Right. Is that correct, Issa?
Yeah, well, I think we have a fair and open dialogue and discussion here, and I think that's
there you go.
Thing. So the issue that I have in these spaces when in this dialogue with the white supremacist is, so the thing is, they say we're gonna kill the people who are not truly, because they're not really white, and that's the same thing. If the Muslim chooses to do that, then their whole thing crumbles. That's why Adolf Hitler was destined to failure. If he wants to have a pure white nation, there are going to be white people, so-called white people, who fit his agenda of whiteness, who are going to oppose him and say, no, we disagree with you. How do you deal with these types of people? You have to figure out a way to make them not white. And that's the same thing that these folks are trying to do with these IDF soldiers who are Muslim. You have to make them not Muslim. But to make them not Muslim, you got to go down a really intense rabbit hole, and it doesn't work. It's not going to work for them.
What happens with the folks that are Muslim as opposed to the people that aren't Muslims? You see, because it's the same thing. If you're not Muslim, well, then you're the enemy.
Page 602, Division O, Chapter 9, Paragraph 7. Muslims may not seek help from non-Muslim allies unless non-Muslims are considerably outnumbered and the allies are of goodwill towards Muslims. The Caliph makes war upon the Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians. So it's all, if you make war against the Muslim on behalf of the Jews, I mean, do you really think for a second that you're going to walk out of there alive?
But it's the same conflict between Shia and Sunni. Like, you take Iraq, for example, and you were weren't you in Iraq? I think you were there, right?
I was. But what I'm saying.
So they said that there was takfiring. There was takfiring, saying, well, the Shias are not really Muslim, so it's okay to kill them.
Right. But do you think that is a greater crime than taking the side with the Jews?
I think if you're praying 5 times a day and you're fasting and you're doing all the rules of Islam, it's very hard to try to play that game. All you can do is pull a political game, and you're saying, well, politically they're not doing what I want. I'm like, but they're following the rules of Islam.
This is siding with the Jews. You're siding with the Jews.
Stop. Okay, everybody. Let me put this in perspective real quick.
We ain't got much time, Rad. You got to go.
Okay, Issa, there are videos. You can watch them of ISIS takfiris where they stop people on the road. And they asked him, how many rakas do you do on prayer? And the truck drivers say, what? Yeah, I do 5 rakas, whatever. Oh, no, you forgot the raka when you enter the mosque. Because you have to bow before you enter the mosque, so therefore you're not a Muslim. They shoot him on the road.
Yeah, and see, this is the problem. If you play that game, if you play that crazy insanity game,
they do play that game.
No, and I'm saying when people do that, then the problem is they become liable to the same problem themselves. I can play the same game. So you can do the same attack against the Salafi and the Wahhabi. The Salafi and the Wahhabi does something that could be considered extremely criminal. The thing that they do is this thing called anthropomorphization. So there's this idea that Allah is supposed to be kind of...
Yeah, he's all kinds of parts. He's potato. But no, he said...
But the idea that he sits on a chair and that he's a hand, he has a literal hand, he has a literal eye. And the same problem is if they want to attack the Christian and say, well, you say that Jesus is God, right? Or the Son of God. Well, the problem is if on the anthropomorphist Muslim, if they face the same thing, except it's worse because they're a hypocrite. Because they come off saying that, God can't be a person, but they make God into a man.
Look at Islamic history. Again, the side that wins is the side with the bigger sword. The side that wins is the side with the bigger gun.
No.
This
I totally,
is what we're saying.
and I hear you, Rad. But the point that I'm trying to share on this point is the issue is of finding the true religion. Like if they're like what you said when they come and takfir people on the street, I'm like, but they can be takfir too. They are liable to face takfir also. For example, here's another thing that I think Daniel Hakakichu couldn't defend this position, and Dr. Wood fairly held his feet to the fire to it. He said, and I wish he went further on it because it's a fair argument. It's the argument of tahrif, saying of corruption, that the Torah and the Gospels are corrupted. If the Gospels and the Torah are corrupted, that means God is either evil or God is weak. You can't win that argument. You can't try to say, well, humans are free will.
He can't preserve his own word.
If God cannot preserve God's word, then that means that God is a failure. And if you do that, you theologically crucify yourself. So I'm like, it's a really terrible position. But the reason they do it is because they're literalists. So,
The reason why they do it is because they're idiots. Let's get it straight.
They're not idiots. It is supernatural.
Yeah, they are because they want to believe. They want.
It is supernatural.
They want to believe. They want to believe that their religion is true. When in fact, historically, it can't be. They can't prove it historically. Whereas we can prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt historically.
Ed, it's supernatural.
God
says, I will blind you.
I agree.
God
There's
says
demons.
over and over
There's
again.
demons.
I would choose the cow.
There are demons
I would
involved. I
choose
agree.
the cow. I would choose the cow.
Anyway.
All right. So the
Eric's
last
gonna go.
35 minutes of the show have kind of delved into chaos, and that's okay. I mean, we have our discussions. And
Man, maybe we need to go about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Maybe we should come earlier because this kind of gets good about the last 30 minutes of the show. Anyway.
Or you can all agree that I am right and you're wrong.
Yeah, we know that ain't gonna happen.
All right.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, everybody that came and behaved yourselves in the chat. Thank you, everybody that came and behaved yourselves and did not behave yourselves on the panel. You have no idea how much I value your opinions, and I enjoy listening to the discussions and participating when I can on my own show. It makes it worthwhile. But thank you for coming. Next week, I think we're going to have to do a part 3. Based on this last part, because I was looking up this guy that I had some personal interaction with when I was in Iraq. His name was Hassan Akbar, and Hassan decided that he wanted to go jihad on our command element. And I just want to remind people that even at that time, people had a basic awareness of a trust element. And I'm not saying that we cannot trust Muslim soldiers, but, and that is the biggest, but there is always going to be this element of allegiances. Where are your allegiances? And this is why I'm kind of surprised that the Israeli army is, they allow them full citizenship. You have Muslims that vote in that country, have their own political parties.
But they're apartheid.
Supreme Court.
They're apartheid. They're apartheid, Eric.
member of the Supreme Court. I know that's a lie, but you know, it's in a time of war, to put that much trust in Muslim soldiers from your country and to fight side by side with the IDF says a lot about the IDF. And it says a lot about the Muslims that live in Israel itself, also with their understanding of who the Muslims are. But I'll leave it at that. Okay, thank you everybody for coming, and we will see you next week. Next week, that's right, we'll be right here at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Central Standard Time on the Cost and the Crescent discussion group.
Just wait.
Just
remember. Just remember. Wait. Stop. Just remember, Aisha was.
She was 9 years old. She was 9 years old.
Just
and release be upon you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. What was I going to say? Thekafer.com, thekafer.com. I haven't updated the website in a week and a half. I apologize, but I'll get something there this week. I know what the heck. Woo-hoo. All right. We will see you next week on the Crossing the Crescent discussion group. Where are we? Cold close. Where are you? Where is it, Rad? Did you hide it?
No, I didn't hide it.
What the heck is wrong with you?
Advanced, student, and specialist. That the standard narrative has holes. That's what I'm.
That the Muslims were rioting against one another. And as much as we don't want to face the fact, the Muslims were lying sometimes. They were fabricating, they were embellishing, and that might be hard to accept, but that is a reality.